went and grabbed her from school and came over here and got it done.
I was a little nervous, but once I got it done, it didn't really hurt at all, and I kind of felt better.
That's Margaret Woodward and her mom, Erin. Margaret receiving her first dose of the vaccine on Wednesday. Now, emergency use of the COVID vaccine for kids 5 to 11 approved this week. Kids already getting that first dose. It comes as mandate deadlines hit other employers, and the student vaccine mandate will go into effect next July. With all of that being said, let's welcome into probably my most well-dressed panel I've ever had here. Fresno Unified School Board Trustee Keisha Thomas is here, and we have Pastor Jim Franklin of Cornerstone Church. He also hosts Jim Franklin Live on KMJ. Welcome both. So the first surge of parents, remember that, getting their kids vaccinated this week. Now, we saw it this month that adults with the vaccine first came out, but then it tapered off a little bit. So Jim, I'm wondering, we just heard from the health director. He says only about 30%, he believes, kids will get vaccinated before those mandates kick in. Worried?
Well, I'm not anti-vaccine. I am concerned about mandates, of forcing people to take some, especially when you're talking about your children. So just as he said in your piece there are those parents, about a third, that are concerned about the health of their children. That's what I'm concerned about.
Keisha, how, obviously being a part of the school board, you're going to see that July mandate. You think a lot of the parents will wait until that mandate comes, hoping that maybe something changes?
Yes, but there won't be any changes. It's just like all the other vaccines our kids have to have. They're necessary. We don't question the chicken pox. We don't question malaria. We don't question, there's so many different vaccines that our kids have gotten over the years that we don't question. But this one in particular is meant to save lives. And it's really important to make sure that we are making sure our elderly people are safe and we're not killing anybody. So I'm not anti-choice. Just like a woman has the opportunity to do what she needs to do with her body, I think that parents should be able to do what they need to do for their own children.
But that's not what the mandate says.
That's not what the mandate says.
Yeah.
So we'll have a lot of people trying to figure out how to maneuver their way out of getting the vaccine.
But with the mandates, you say that's not what the mandate says, but if you look at what California law says, is that there are exemptions to vaccines.
Religious.
And two types of exemptions, religious and medical. So when we say mandate, even California law recognizes, yes, but there are some reasons why people shouldn't take it.
Well, it's interesting that you say that. You, along with your church, hosted that big Know Your Rights convention, actually a town hall, earlier this week. You had hundreds of people there. Do you think parents will ultimately revolt, though, against the vaccine? Again, I remind both of you, only half of Fresno County adults are vaccinated.
They will.
Well, I think if you sell that type of percentage with adults, obviously there's a reason why they're not doing it. And I think that will carry down to their children also. If I'm not going to get it, then I'm surely not going to have my child get it. So that's where information, and that's why what we had was a town hall. It wasn't a rally pro-con. We wanted people to understand. Now, instead of having a doctor there, because there's a lot of debate in the medical field of do we or do we not, and that's why you see a lot of health care that haven't even taken it. So that's why we thought it would be necessary. Then let's inform parents. Let's give them an opportunity to hear from a legal standpoint, because sadly, that's what it's going to come down to.
So let me, since you're part of the trustees, and I know you don't want to have a school board meeting with me, I get that, but is there a chance where the school board will petition to the governor's office, let the school districts figure it out, maybe not the state?
No, because we need to do what's state mandated. And if parents choose not to have their kids vaccinated, then they should have that choice, whether it be a personal reason, a medical reason, or a religious reason. And that's the bottom line.
I want to get to the other aspect of this, because pretty soon, January 4th is now the deadline for employers of 100 employers with 100 and more employees to get the full vaccination of their employees. And this week, the LA Sheriff, Alex Villanueva, doubling down on not enforcing the vaccine mandate of his deputies administered by LA County supervisors. We don't have that here, like I asked the Fresno County health official, Mr. Lucchini, but Alex Villanueva says he may lose more than 3,000 deputies. Could we see that here in Fresno with our law enforcement?
Well, I think people are concerned. We've seen that with law enforcement and with first responders across the nation. We've seen what's happening in Chicago, what's happening in New York. The key with Chicago is there was a ruling came down from a court there that said that the mayor couldn't enforce the mandate. They had a December 31st deadline. And the court stayed that and says, no, that you can't do that. That violates their arbitration rights. So there's a lot of ambiguity among the courts and among people concerning these mandates and deadlines.
And we should mention the Supreme Court has not scheduled any hearings on this right now.
But then the other part, just to add to what Pastor said, is that Kaiser employees are quitting. So, you know, they don't want to get vaccinated. And these are people that work in the trenches, and they're choosing not to, and they're quitting their jobs and finding other things to do, which is unfortunate because we're losing people on the front lines that we really need.
Kids' vaccine mandates. Your church took on the state.
Yes.
When it came to the mask mandates, when it came to having people come inside and have the freedom of religion. Well, let me ask you something. Is that what we're going to see coming up with a lot of litigation?
Well, so what we did is we recognized that the state had overreached in what they did in mandating that churches stop meeting in person. And we recognized that that was a violation of our Constitution. So the way that you overcome that is not riot in the streets or march on town hall. You get a lawyer. That's the system that we have. We did that, and we're at the end of the day proven right 5 times at the United States Supreme Court level. So lower court rulings, especially here on the West Coast, sometimes seem to go in the favor of government, but we find that as it gets closer to the Supreme Court, we saw a change, at least in our cases. So that's why these early court rulings, I wouldn't put a lot of weight upon those until they work their way up.
All right.
Wow.
A lot to discuss. We got to end it there. We got a lot more coming up in our second panel, but coming up, could